Well, guys, it's the West Virginia Calling Show. It's Thursday, and Eric and I are here, and I also have a line of like Pez lined up here, cough drops. See if I can make it through without losing my voice. Bear with me. Glad to have you here, Eric. Lots of moving pieces for the Mountaineers. Uh, Still trying to absorb all of the new 49 players. I guess there's a few more coming in. We're going to talk about that tonight. Talk about the big game coming up for the basketball team against Ohio State, just briefly. And then it's going to be a shorter show because I'm under the weather. But I didn't want to not do a show because it's a busy time for Mountaineer sports. But Eric, how you been?
Doing good, man. Like you said, this is a busy time for the football team in particular. You got a lot of the other sports cooking along, but this time in Mountaineer football feels like you're kind of at the end of a calm stretch of river where you're paddling along in your canoe, and you hear something, and okay, it's a little bit of fast water, and then it's a waterfall, and
Yep.
then you lose your paddle, and then everything's upside down, and you got more waterfalls coming up. There's just a lot going on.
A lot going on. Now, usually we do an 8 o'clock show on Thursday. We changed it up because Eric had something he had to go to, and I was feeling. I just want to make sure my voice was all there. But I was pretty excited to see the news for this kid. We talked about him a little bit. His name's Marcus Stokes. He kind of stepped in it when he was a younger guy. Okay. The story goes, he's a run pass option guy, which, you guess who likes that? Old Rich Rod, right? Well, if I got this story right, he was going to go to a big name SEC school. Everyone was wanting him. And then he cut a video. Like most 17-year-olds, you're not like thinking about stuff. And it was like a rap video, and it was more 2 Live Crew than Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know what I mean? So it went over.
Good way to put that.
Yeah. And he lost his offer, floated around a little bit, ended up at Western Florida, a D2 school. Lit it up last year there. Now the kid's from Florida to begin with. He's 2'6", 215. He can run the ball. I really am excited. And they say the guy that he reminds people of. And this Steelers fans are going to give me shit if I say it, but they say he reminds them of a Kenny Pickett. From Pitt. So he has a good rhythm. He's not quite as big as Tim Tebow, but he has 3,000 yards total, and he can run the ball. He can pass. This is a guy I think they bring in, and he has multiple offers now. I think this is a guy they can bring in. He entered transfer portal December 7th to push Fox. Eric, what are your thoughts? Do you think that they need someone in there to kind of like, they have a couple quarterbacks, coming in, Jerron Hewley, Wyatt Brown, John Johnson, but last year there was 5 guys. This would make it 5. What are your thoughts?
Man, you covered a lot of ground there, but let's see if we can fill in the blanks. So Division II players, their portal window opens sooner.
Yeah.
So we won't hear about Division I players till I think January 2nd. So this guy's kind of a great opportunity because it's an early pick. Excuse me. Now,
yeah,
I've heard the Kenny Pickett references. To me, I don't know about that. When I see the guy, he has a tremendous arm, great velocity on the throws, great accuracy. the thing I have seen is that sometimes he makes a lot of throws, uh, and a lot of them are deep throws. Consequently, with the aggressive attitude, he's got a lot of turnovers, a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
But I think that's a consequence, both maybe a little bit of his personality and probably more so the offense that he's in. But when he decides to take off, whether it's a called run or it's a busted play, he's got some wheels. He's had some long runs. I don't think he has the speed that Wyatt Brown has, but I definitely think he's a more mature product. He's been playing at a higher level. Um, I think he is going to be somebody who can come in and provide some competition for Scotty Fox. I'm a Scotty Fox fan, but everybody needs competition. I don't care how good you are, it helps you to elevate your own game. And quite honestly, the two can become better together in their competition if it's a good, friendly, spirited competition. So, yeah, if we can get this guy, I think that'd be great. He's got offers from all over Florida State, Wisconsin, you name it, Syracuse. He's got a bunch of them. Interestingly enough, Neil Brown's after him too. Apparently, he's got an offer from North Texas.
That's great. I mean, Neil Brown wants some. I got to laugh a little bit. So, Akron, Appalachian State, Boston College, Buffalo, Charlotte. Sorry, guys. I'm losing my voice. Eastern Kentucky, Florida State, Iowa, James Madison, Kennesaw State, Liberty, Miami of Ohio, North Texas. Of course, there's Neil Brown. Northwestern, Old Dominion, Sacramento State, Syracuse, UAB, UTEP, Wisconsin, and West Virginia. Now, like I said, back in 2022, he was singing rap songs. And Penn State dropped off the radar, and Florida dropped off the radar. I like the story of this kid getting this stuff together. You learn from your mistakes. He's going to bring wisdom to the locker room, a sense of maturity. He might compete. We don't know. I mean, last year we had how many different quarterbacks touch the ball on snaps? So, with a backfield full of talented quarterbacks, it's not going to hurt. That puts Mountaineers are right around 50, I think, names. But I'm going to go through some of these guys real quick because we didn't get a chance to before because we ran out of time. So I promised you on Monday that we would do that. So we talked about Jerron Hewley, Wyatt Brown. Wyatt Brown, 6'3", 197. Now, they did put out a more accurate list and that was courtesy of, trying to think who did it. Blue and Gold Sports, I think. But they gave us a more accurate list. Let me get my list out. They got Jerron Hewley, 6'2", 195. Wyatt Brown, 6'3", 197. That's the kid from California that we were talking about that we like. John Johnson, 6 foot 180. And Rich Rod said something interesting, Eric. He said if LSU's not going to recruit some of these guys, we're going to go into Louisiana and this is going to be one of our hot spots.
He might have a legend from that area down there recruiting that.
Yeah, I think we have a source, a guy that knows the territory. Last name
might have some family down there.
Yeah, used to wear number 5. Sorry, guys. Running back, Chris Talley. Now, he's a 5'11", 181 guy from Tennessee. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. I don't think he's an every down back. Sir Paul Cheeks, 5'7", 176. This guy is like lightning in a bottle. Martavius Boswell, 5'9", 175. Another quick twitch JUCO guy from Texas. Lawrence Autry. This guy I don't know a whole lot about other than he's 5'10", 215. And when I see that height and weight, I think that guy gets a couple extra stacks of pancakes with his sausage and biscuits. So Amari Latimer, another big dude, 6 foot 228. Amari is going to be that north-south guy. Doesn't really have a fifth gear, but fourth gear is fast enough if you're breaking people's arms, if you try to arm tackle them. Eric, you want to talk a little bit about people leaving? I mean, with these guys coming in, what are you going to do? I mean, if you're already on the squad.
And I'm sorry, I'm chuckling a little bit, and I'm not laughing at anybody's opportunities or anybody's misfortune, but the writing is on the wall. My goodness, we had something on the order of 82 players um, come in last year. This year, we already have 50 new recruits on a very, very strong freshman class. A number of these incoming players, they're going to play next year. I am hearing numbers between somewhere between 15 to 20 transfers we're going to be picking up. And we're still picking up players now in this D2. So yeah, the writing is on the wall. You and I have spoken about it, and I credit Rich a lot. Rich is very good about having conversations with players to let them know. I mean, because he knows he's done this a long time. He's not going to keep somebody and waste their career. They're having conversations with players to say, look, if you want to stay here and compete. I mean, he made it very clear last year what the expectations are for the program. And I think most of these players responded, but that kind of sets the tone. He's going to make it clear if you're going to have more opportunity somewhere else, this may be the time for you to consider that. If you want to stick around here, that's great. But the competition's only going to get harder. So yeah, and quite frankly, we've seen it. We were talking before the show. We've seen a number of running backs who are hitting the transfer portal. That doesn't mean they can't come back. They can definitely come back, but they're probably going to see what options they have available. And more than likely, the normal routine is when you hit that transfer portal, you're not coming back.
Now, here's the thing, guys. And don't feel bad for these guys. We give them their laurels for playing for West Virginia for a year. They got tape, and that tape playing against Houston, number 22 Houston at Houston. That tape playing against TCU, even Texas Tech, is going to build a resume for you to make a little bit of money in the NIL. Okay, because there's teams out there that want your services, need your services. Okay, uh, so Malik, just Dory just went into the portal, but let's go to the chat real quick. Coop in the house. Coop, I trimmed up here, and I lost I've been sick for 2 weeks. I've lost 18 pounds. So, as my cheeks aren't as fat, and I trimmed up here. So that's why my beard looks longer. No extensions. I use those for my head. But, when will we play Pitt again? That is the question. 3 years, PK. 3 years we're going to play Pitt. So I got season tickets just for the Pitt game. And I gave 2 sets of season tickets away. I didn't go to any other game. Wife was a little bit miffed about it, but you know what? I have friends come in for that game, and it's good to have those tickets rather than going on StubHub and buying them. But no, I want to see that Pitt rivalry start back up. It's going to be a few years. Be patient. A lot of teams are taking guys off the schedule. With that, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole, and then we'll get back on the recruiting train. But a lot of folks are discussing, a lot of teams not having Notre Dame on their schedule. Did you hear that, Eric?
I did not.
So I read today that they're basically just not going to schedule them, and force them into, joining a conference. I mean, Notre Dame can't schedule Georgia Southern and Southwest Missouri State and Grambling. They have to schedule certain teams. And those certain teams now are basically saying, well, we're not going to schedule Notre Dame. There's no benefit to having them. Because they're miffed that they have that bowl buy-in, even though they didn't make the college football playoffs this year. But I don't know. I thought I'd bring that up because that was really interesting. And I with the Pitt thing, the scheduling, it's up in the air, and things are just different, guys. I mean, college football is in the axis, the world is tilting. And when that happened last time, the ice age started. Well, it's the ice age of college football. The NIL has destroyed the bowls, which used to be the time for kids to go get swag, get your PlayStation 3. I'm dating myself. Maybe get a nice Nike warm up set, a couple pair of sneaks, an iPod. I mean, that's the kind of gifts that get going to good bowl games. Not so much anymore. So,
Hey, Shane, you mind if I piggyback on that discussion?
jump on it, brother.
Excuse me. So, college football, if for anybody who hasn't watched Moneyball, that, and I don't know, I probably, that film is it's a great model for how a lot of professional sports works. And that's what we're seeing now. College is moving that way. And so the notion that it's not that people aren't loyal, it's not that players aren't loyal. It's the game. It's not the player. The notion that we brought in a lot of players last year who, quite honestly, that was a tremendous opportunity for a lot of those players because they would not have gotten the chance to play. Even the Power Four players we brought in, most of them were in a backup role where they were. They got, a number of them got to come in. They got to be starters, which means, like you said, they got a lot more film because that's their resume. When they can go in and have a report on what they did, they've also got film. So the idea that, okay, last year was a unique opportunity, we don't have that opportunity this year, it's because it's a business. And the level of competition, the level of performance, the number of wins and losses, that stuff is much more critical because there's a lot of demands being placed on those that are providing resources to the program. So that's just the nature of the game. And again, it's hard for me to wrap my head around the notion of having this kind of turnover. And I think it's going to slow down because last year we had over 80 players. This year we're probably going to have right around 70. Next year we're probably going to slow down a little bit more. But you can't fault the players last year. They came in and had a great opportunity, and we tried to make the best of what we could. This year, you can't fault the program because they went out and got one of the best recruiting classes we've ever had here. It's just the nature of the beast.
That's spot on. That's exactly, you got the pulse. I'll tell you that. But Coop has a comment here. Jackson Arnold, Auburn, I believe, has West Virginia as is Auburn's quarterback. Was it Auburn? Jackson Arnold plays for Auburn. Yeah, okay. So, West Virginia sniffing around, down there. Gary Jenkins was saying, "Hey, what about Michigan players with that shitstorm that just hit up there, up north of Ohio way, we're not gonna talk about that. That's just a terrible situation. You don't do that as a ball coach, a leader, a young man. You don't act like that. But hopefully, Rich Rod can get one of these big name guys. I don't know. It's going to take a lot of money. I just saw a listing of some of these guys making $3 million, $4 million NIL, and it was listed. Two different places I saw it. I don't know if it's legit, but I don't know if these guys are making that kind of money. But
no one knows.
No one knows.
You're exactly right. No one really knows. And whereas that sounds a bit much to me, you never know, and especially with SEC programs.
And Afton says you don't act the way the AD acted. What happened? What did the AD do, Afton? I guess we'll go down that rabbit hole. But getting back to the guys that we have that signed. I mean, you talked about Chris Talley, Sir Paul Cheeks, Martavius Boswell, Lawrence Autry, and Amari Latimer. Sir Paul Cheeks and Latimer, I'm it just tweaks every one of my sweaty West Virginia football nerdy palms just start going, oh my gosh, this is going to be good. I can't wait to see that guy run north south of the ball. And I just pray these guys can stay healthy. Now, West Virginia has missed lanky receivers, and they got a guy named McCallum. I sound like Keenan Peele trying to enunciate these guys. Malachi Thompson, 6'4", 192. He's a West Virginia guy. Big, long guy, a little bit of weight to him. He's pretty fast. Kendrick Triplett, which we talked about. Landon Drum, 6'2", 190. Robert Oliver, 6'2", 180. All these guys are about 180, except for Kendrick Triplett, who's 211. And he's coming from JUCO. Keon Hutchins, we talked about, is a JUCO guy, 6 foot 180. And then a real quick twitch, like punt returner type, Greg Wilford. Any of those guys on paper look like $1 million. I've seen a little bit of video here and there, but it's not like as big of a splash as Amari Latimer. Amari Latimer literally made my jaw just fall, and those are all good guys, look talented, high 3-star guys. Offensive line, they're getting some beefy dudes in. I don't think anybody on this list is Kevin Brown's the thinnest at 286.
Really?
Yeah. I'll read through them here. You ready? Rhett Morris, 6'2", 302 from New Jersey. Camden Gofford, 6'4", 321. 321, guys. LaMarcus Dillard, 6'2", 290. Aiden Woods, 6'5", 297. Kevin Brown, 6'6", 280. Deshaun Woods, 6'5", 291. And Jonas Muya, 6'7", 292. When you're 6'7", 292, when you hear 292, you're like, oh, that's a big dude. But he's 6'7", guys. And continue with the height at tight end. Getting in-state guy Xavier Anderson at 6'6", 202. Cade Bush is 6'4", 220. Sam Hamilton is a short 6'2", 235. So, Eric, your thoughts on these are we had some bullshit heights and weights. These are legit heights and weights that came out on goldbluesports.com about 2 days ago or yesterday. I wanted to talk to you guys. It's like they read my mind Monday. They're like, oh, Shane, you don't have to do any work. Just cite us and we'll do it for you. That's not what happened. It's kind of like what I think happens in my little mind when I sit there in bed and fall asleep. But Eric, what are your thoughts on some of these guys? They seem like legit power 4. They're not just bodies. They're bodies. They're big bodies.
So let me ask you a question. Where are these kids transferring in from?
Oh my gosh. So mostly some of these kids are high school kids. Other ones are JUCO.
Oh, wait, they're mostly high school? Shane, these guys are grown-ass men already. It's one thing to get a guy like that, because we did get some guys coming in from JUCOs. But a lot of these guys are young men. They're coming in huge already. And we talked in an earlier episode that you're talking about like something on the order of like, I don't know, no more than like 3% of the human population is that size. So for you to get someone that size who's also highly skilled, athletic, these are tremendous pickups, and we're going to have them for a while. So that is phenomenal, and it's kind of interesting because Rich used to have lighter weight guys. We did a lot of zone blocking, so you had to be a little bit lighter to get on your feet, get moving. But these guys, if we can get them into the blocking scheme, which I'm sure that's why they were picked. My goodness, where was our number one problem this year with the offense? Offensive line. we are going to fill in a lot of holes real quick. I don't know that every one of those guys is going to start. You probably get lucky to have one or two. But if you can get them to start rotating in relatively quickly, probably by mid-season next year, you're going to see a huge improvement in the line play.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So those guys are definitely going to make an impact. Linda Skidmore, she says Michigan knew this for some time. They waited to fire Moore until after signing day. That's what the AD did. I was speechless. It's just no moral compass. I mean, the hard right is called the hard right for a reason. Instead of taking the easy way out, and that seems like the easy way out. They just kind of waited. Uh, that's just terrible. That's just terrible.
We're very lucky here to kind of steer the direction back towards our program. Michigan's going to have to deal with their own problems, and it's going to be messy. I don't know that we want to get wrangled up in that, but look at the job Ren Baker has done here. It is amazing. From hiring 2 new men's basketball coaches, um, hiring the women's basketball coach. I mean, that was a similar situation. We've had nothing but Ren has just had great hire after great hire. Bringing Rich back and the elevation. I mean, look at the programs and successes we've had. By the way, had another national championship in rifle.
That's all.
Yeah, we are very, very blessed to have an incredible program, athletics program here, and Ren has been just tremendous.
Ren. I'm on the not the naughty list for West Virginia because I got this in the mail today from West Virginia University,
Ah,
and it's from Ren Baker.
no way.
Now, you just got to donate a bunch of money.
Look at you. You're besties with Ren, man. Getting Christmas
Yeah,
cards
just write
from
a check and they send you a card.
my man.
I made a mistake one time of donating to a fraternal police organization. Those cats are ruthless. And they got this. The people that call you have the smoothest, sexiest voice. They call you up and they're like, "Would you love to? We love the fact you care about our police officers." Not now. I'm like, no, man, wrong number. I just give them because it's not even spam. It's like they track you down. So if those guys would have tracked down Bin Laden, it saved us trillions of dollars. But they're
Pretty sure Barry White. When he retired from his music career, he became one of their telemarketers.
that R&B soul or maybe dark country kind of voice. Like, oh, okay. You want me to take my pants off? Okay. Like.
Easy there, fella.
Oh, it just gets me coughing. Sorry, guys. Hey, like I said, tonight's show is at a different time. I appreciate you tuning in. I've had this little tickle and cold for a while. So, we have a Thursday show that's going to fall on a holiday. I'm not going to have that show, but we'll be there that Monday. I want to talk real quick about the quarterback position and how we have some lanky dudes there. Mackie Boone, hopefully I say his name wrong. I sound like that Keenan Peele skit where they're like Deshaunary from Southwest Missouri State, Simja Hill, 6'1", 173 from PA. Vincent Smith, 6'1", 223. Holy cow, that's a big boy. Rashawn Reynolds. Vincent Smith is 223.
That's a fullback.
Yeah.
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 We are very blessed again. Looking at the incoming class, I'm in particular. You've been talking about him, and I thought I better check this guy out a little bit more closely. Wyatt Brown looks like he is going to be bringing in a lot of good, talent. I think he's going to be helping Scotty improved. But Rich hinted that he's not done, and that in the portal he's going to be looking for a big name quarterback. And we've already, talked about it a little bit, but yeah, we've got talent everywhere. But he's looking for somebody that can be coming in now, and be a contributor right away. Oh, you muted, buddy.
Jackson Arnold. I'm going to pull him up real quick. Okay, here we go. Jackson Arnold, 6'1", 219 from Denton, Texas. Wasn't Friday Night Lights supposed to take place in Denton, Texas? I don't know.
I think it did.
But he is has a score of 90. Overall, 13th best quarterback in the transfer window. He's a junior. And here's the report. Hold on.
You're muted, buddy.
Here's his report. Ready?
Hit us.
Also played baseball. 2021, he was the district MVP. Led his team to a 6A Division II state championship. He was second string behind Texas A&M starter Eli Stowers in 2020. So 2021 was his first year as a starter for in 2023 enrolled in Oklahoma, transferred to Auburn. I don't know if he got any time last year at Auburn, but they say he reminds, this is from Gabe Brooks from 24/7 Scouting Analysis. He says adequate height with a good frame and solid build, functional athlete. He has enough suddenness and tight quarters to evade the pass rush and extend planes. RPO threat. Ball gets out very fast with good velocity to multiple levels. Very good touch. Whether vertically to the perimeter or elsewhere, he displays the requisite deep ball strength, fostered by a loose live arm. Good runner, above average speed. Uses the inverted pivot to buy time and find receivers. Accurate from the pocket. Has a desired demeanor for the position. Is calm, poised, competitive. Only 5 interceptions and 444 throws as a junior. He is projects as a high major starter for multiple years with a long-term NFL draft ceiling. That's high accolades.
And I was going to ask you to, like, when we mentioned, because you're doing an excellent job of giving ratings out there. When you see somebody with a score of 90, that's an NFL caliber, a potentially NFL caliber athlete right there.
Yeah, that guy would make he'd play in front of Fox, from what I read. Just from what I read. I haven't seen any video, but from what I read.
Well, yeah, he's someone who could, yeah. We might even want to do a thing where we talk about the stars and what the number of stars means. But anyway.
Yeah, well, we talked a little bit about it a couple weeks ago. Guys, if you're a 5-star, you're like 1%. If you're 4 stars, you're probably top 3%. Your 3 stars are everything from there down to like 3 stars. You could have a score 85 or 88 or 82. Whereas, to be a 4-star, you got to be in the 90s. Right? That's about the best way I can do it.
Absolutely.
The average star rating for PK. West Virginia usually only gets maybe 1 4-star every couple of years. We usually are a 3-star recruiting class, and we're usually anywhere from best case 30 something to 45. Eric, tell PK where we're at this year and how big of a deal it is.
Well, we've always been a program, to kind of paraphrase what you said, maybe a little differently. We've always been a program that is mostly all 3 stars. And then you'll have some guys in there, like a 2 star. And to be quite honest, I'm not downing anybody. Basically, as soon as anybody offers you something, a scholarship, instantly you're a 2 star.
Yeah.
So that's where we've been. And normally we're just below like 3. We're like 2.89, somewhere in there stars. This year we have a tremendous number. Like they're all 3 stars.
Yeah.
But then, like Shane said, we've got multiple. We have at least 5 that are 4 or 5 star, and that's just unheard of for us. So I believe our average is somewhere around like 3.2, 3.3. But that's a big jump because, as Shane mentioned, to go from like a 3 star, you can be an 85
Yeah.
to an 80, upper
85 is
80s.
good. Yeah.
But it's not to get too mathy, but it's almost like a logarithmic scale where like a little bit more of a score, your stars go up. You've got to really drive your score up to get those 4 stars. And then the 5 star, yeah, you're talking about somebody like a 3 star is somebody who's projected to, they'll be a college player. 4 star is someone who's projected to basically, yeah, they have a really good shot at going into the NFL. 5 star, you're looking at somebody who's probably not just going to go into the NFL. They have a chance to be like an all-pro player. So when you see these scores from like it's no wonder teams like in the SEC, they have a ridiculous level of talent. That all having been said, and sorry Shane, I'm talking too long.
Yo.
I'm a big believer. I got a buddy of mine who should have been a coach. He is tremendous with understanding athletics. Um, Kirk, if you're watching, this is about you. But it's about getting the right player in the right system.
Yeah.
And the notion that you get schools that have their averages are around 3.8 to maybe 4.2, which is huge. It's ridiculous. And then they don't have success. Well, you got a lot of talent, but did you fit them? Did you put them in the right place to be successful? And so the notion of being able to find players that have the attributes you need at a specific position and put them in that position so that the overall philosophy of your offense or defense will work as you intended, that is the formula for success. And that is the whole principle of like a Moneyball approach. You're looking for players with specific attributes. You know, I forget who it was, but there was a guy who played. I think he played guard for the Denver Broncos. Was ended up being an All Pro. He played at an Ivy League school. I don't remember which one. I want to say Harvard, but anyway, he said he never would have gotten a shot in the NFL except his time on the 40 was something like a 4.8. And as a lineman, that's pretty darn good. And at the time, it was really good. So that's the only reason he got into the NFL. Now, once he got there, he was heady enough that he was able to use his football IQ to leverage his other skills, and he just took off. But it doesn't usually pan out that way. So the idea, if you think about it, everybody loves to quote 40 times because it's a sexy number. It's
Yeah.
kind of like hitting the long ball in baseball. It gets a lot of attention. But how many times do you see players on a breakaway play all by themselves, especially a non-skill player? So it's interesting that sometimes we have a lot of adoration for metrics that don't necessarily translate as well at the field. So it's all about getting the right player and the right system.
That's true. That's a great rundown on that because that's exactly right. What happened with Pal White? Right place, right time, right player. Now, Leo is a regular. Leo, understand RB coach Porter is leaving. Yes, he is. I think he's going down to Auburn. Any thoughts on who Rod should look at? I think he's going to look in house. I think he's going to bump up Noel Devine.
Hmm.
I think that's what I heard. So
That would be interesting.
yeah,
And definitely for those who don't know, Noel is the kind of guy who showed while he was here he can be he is a hard worker. Remarkably, he came back and got his degree after he was done with football. And there's for those who don't know, just like in the movie Vision Quest, you saw Shoot walking the stairs with a log, carrying the log.
Great movie, great
Yeah,
soundtrack.
oh my word, yeah, all the above. Noel used to run the bleachers at Mountaineer Stadium. I don't think he carried a log on his shoulders, but he would run like every single row. That guy's a dog. So, given opportunities, he will make the most of them.
And shout out to Coach Devine. I ran into him last year when I was in Morgantown at the Suncrest Plaza, and he signed Kelly McCourt's hat that I we gifted on a drawing here. So
nice.
So with that, that's the time I was trying to get Bob Huggins before I went to Florida to sign something. So, anyways, that's a different story. But so far, guys, like I said, this is the call-in show. You have questions, we're going to go down the rabbit hole. I'm sorry, we're hunting rabbits, as Afton would say, like Elmer Fudd. But, you can look at all these 49 guys, and the consistent theme, this is why I wanted to talk about in the show, is we're no clearer on what's going to happen this year than last year. But one thing is certain. These guys are bigger. They're longer. I think they're a little bit more athletic. I think that's going to translate into a couple W's. Now, Eric, question for you. If West Virginia had won one more game, do you think we would have jumped on a bowl opportunity?
That's a great question. Normally, my answer is sir, go ahead.
Or would we have kind of just said no and, just kind of,
So one thing about the West Virginia fan base, they do not like quitters. They do not like people who take the easy route. They don't like people who don't show a good work ethic is just the best way to. They like guys who take the opportunity, make the most of it, who make good decisions. Our fan base will get behind players like that, regardless of which sport you played, and you will be remembered forever and appreciated forever. So that being said, our basketball team and football teams have both played extra. Postseason, even preseason, and it's never been about the money. And the reason being was simple. I remember Coach Huggins one time. We went into a tournament that was not going to make fiscal sense, and his explanation was simple. He said, "Do you know how many more practices I get to have with these guys? Do you know how critical it is to get more playing time, game time? You can't teach what you learn in a game." So normally I'd say, oh, definitely, hell yes. But this year, I don't know. This year might be a little different because I know that Rich has been very open. He spent a lot of time, him and the staff, everybody. They have been very involved with the athletes they have recruited. They have developed relationships. They are planning for the future. They are planning their future philosophies because, like we said, you want the right person for the right system. You also want to make sure you maximize their potential with the system as it allows. Oh, sorry, buddy. You're muted again.
Well, I don't need to be unmuted to agree with you. That's exactly what I was doing. I was agreeing. I'm like, yeah, that's spot on. Eric, I have a question for you. PK has followed up with this one. Now, we talked that we don't really know what the value is, but I think we have an idea of what West Virginia has to spend. I think it's around $35 million. I've heard 30. I've heard 35. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think they have money left to pull in like a Jackson Arnold and he did play at Auburn. I just had a brain cramp. I think he beat Baylor. He's a good quarterback, top 10. These are the type of guys that Rich Rod is kind of like, okay, just sitting back waiting, hoping that he could jump on. Now the Division II cat, Marcus Stokes, be a nice get. But PK, it's not really given. There's podcasts out there where guys that are coming out of the transfer portal, maybe done playing, are talking about, I made this in 2024. But we're not quite to the point now where we know what the market value is. Now, my notes have, I don't know how accurate this is, but like this is from 3 or 4 months ago. Starting offensive lineman, power 4, get anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000. That's what a starting offensive lineman make. Defensive lineman, it's about 200 to 350,000. Okay. Quarterbacks, I have it from 800,000 to 3 million.
And a lot of this is, and these are speculative numbers. These are not gospel.
This is based off of what they've talked to other guys who have played, or there's been an interview and someone said, yeah, I was offered this. And I'm just kind of throwing those numbers together, and this is kind of what we have. I'm not a journalist. I just go by what I hear on YouTube's, and I kind of, the truth is somewhere in the middle, but that's, the best way I can describe it. There's West Virginia is not in the top tier, but they're top of the middle tier. I guess the best way I can say it when they're shopping. So we're not quite Ferraris, but we might be able to swing a Corvette or two, But we had many injuries there. Eric, before I go on a coughing fit, I want to ask you, they have Matt Sig listed as an athlete. He was a safety, and I think he played running back.
They had a Wildcat package for him too.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be. What are they gonna use him with? What are they gonna do with him?
So the reports I've heard is probably the same as everybody else has heard. They cannot wait to insert him at the Bandit. We've been missing some speed in our linebacking core. He can help out with that right away. Excuse me. Now, I think he is somebody who could come in, and he has a chance to play early. I don't know. Does that mean next year? Does that mean middle of the season? Does that mean the beginning of next year? I don't know. But he's got the things you can't coach. That being said, I've heard that once he masters the defense, so probably not next year, maybe not even the year after, but at some point, he has made it clear in his recruiting all along he wants to play both sides of the ball, and you heard Rich early in the season talking about playing guys on both sides of the ball, and I think that was his wink to Sig. You can play some slot receiver here. I'm not sure about the outside, but he'd be great at the slot receiver. And that'll be good because Gallagher doesn't. I don't know if he's got 1 year or 2 left.
Yeah, he's about done.
Yeah, but he's a great receiver. But we're gonna have to replace him. And quite honestly, you need depth.
I'm excited. I mean, I think he was one that caused me to about choke. I couldn't.
That hit me from out of the blue. No one saw that coming.
Yeah, I heard rumors, but I'm like, that kid's not going to sign. And then when I saw him sign and pull down that zip, and there's a West Virginia flying WV, I'm like, wait a second. Now, the best thing about it, guys, chat, check this out. I had like almost like a. Do you ever have like a chuckle fart where you almost shit yourself? You start laughing. I'm watching the news, and they're reporting on it, acting like he was supposed to go to Pitt. If that doesn't just tickle you, that I'll tell you what, nothing else would.
Right out of their backyard.
Right out of their backyard. So a couple more chats, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. MP said Rod will be looking for several more O-line in the portal. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to get a couple more big 300-pound guys. You know, this was the outlier was this year. You don't have that type of injury report. You don't usually have 18, 19 guys. You usually have maybe 7 or 8. And I think that's indicative of the conditioning of these guys. They weren't prepared physically. And they're playing too many snaps. I mean, those contribute and cause injuries. So I think that'll get cleaned up. But, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to my sick ass. And Eric, thank you for being my co-host on this West Virginia call-in show that we do every Thursday. And we had to change it up a little bit because of the holidays, because we usually do it at 8, went a little later today. I want to ask everybody in the chat to hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We got a show coming up Monday, okay? That Monday show is going to be it's going to be on the West Virginia Live Show, 9 Mondays, 8 p.m. Thursdays. I'm just reading the banner on the bottom because I'm an idiot. I also do a Steelers podcast on Wednesdays at 9 and Mondays at 10. So Frank Fear does a show here on the West Virginia Call-In Show with Greg Chris, and they do it on Wednesdays. Now, to close the show, Saturday, Ohio State, West Virginia. Now, Clemson hung it on someone. I can't remember who it was, but they beat the shit out of someone that they shouldn't have. West Virginia had Clemson until the last 2 minutes, and we're handling them quite nicely. Don't know really what we have with the basketball team. It's interesting to see. I think they're 8-3. They played a lot of scrap teams, but they played a couple good ones too. So Saturday we'll know what we have. We'll talk about that Monday. I'd love to see them kick Ohio State's teeth in. Eric, any final thoughts before we leave?
Yeah, I'll try to make this quick. I want to put a correction out there for something I said, boneheaded the previous podcast. I said Virginia might have had an argument for being left out. I meant Vanderbilt. All those V schools confuse me unless you put a W in front of them. The question Leo had is fantastic, guys. JUCO players and high school players. That's who we've added in these 50 players that we've added. The Division I portal will be opening January 2nd. It will open up later for teams that are still active. Rich still wants players that can come in and have an impact next year. That's where he's going to get them from. I'm hearing anywhere 15 to 20. That's a lot of impact players. The last thing, Shane, thank you, buddy. This has been a great ride. It's been a blast not only with you, but the folks in the chat that we see week in, week out, or even those that stop in when they can. A lot of great feedback, a lot of great input. It's been a lot of fun.
Guys, we'll try to keep you up to date. And what we do is take all of the news from the previous couple days, kind of roll it up, give it to you, try to be entertaining, try to laugh. Count on you guys for a little bit more of an entertainment value. So the Thursday show, we definitely count on your feedback and your questions to kind of steer this show into what direction it needs to go. But I want to say we're going to close the show like we brought it in. I tried to confuse you there because the outro is the state flag. But I thought I'd bring it in that way, and we're going to bring it out with the state flag. It's been a somber week for the people of West Virginia. But guys, this has been a hell of a recruiting class just for the first half. January 2nd, moving on, we're gonna see exactly what Rich Rod has up his sleeves, and I think he has a couple more little stashes of money to buy some talent. Well, good night, Eric. Good night, chat.
Not all.
Let's go Mountaineers.